Mommy, Auntie Naza, hear me. 2-year-old Cassie said. Mommy asked, what did you do that she hit you? Before Cassie could answer, Sade shouted, Naza, Naza, come here. Naza appeared, pretending innocence. Naza, this is the second time you're hitting Cassie this morning. What did he do to you this time? The first time he said he poured water on the floor. This time, what did he do? What did he pour? I have told you to stop hitting him. He's too young to be getting that beating from you. Naza said, Ma, Cassie is fond of climbing chairs up and down, so I beat him. Sade said, correct him gently, please. He will learn. Naza went away angry at her madam for trying to correct her. Naza is 20 years old and has lived with Mr. and Mrs. Imo since January. Yes, she has been there for about 8 months. Sade is getting relaxed that this time around she got a good house help that would stay and really help. She also plans to send Naza to a catering school to learn to bake, to be more useful, and she would start a catering business for her in the future. Naza came from a very, very poor family. She couldn't even finish primary school because there was no money to even buy exercise books and uniforms, though primary school education was free. That is, no school fees. Naza has been living from home to home since she was 9 years old. She had a plan for each home she entered. And as years roll by, she is becoming bolder and more audacious. Incidentally, she always achieved her satanic dreams each time. She disappears into thin air almost every December, throwing her employers into panic and misery when they discover what she had done. Her parents, who lived far away in a remote village in Ndokwa, never knew her whereabouts. They only occasionally received money she sent. Naza lives in Lagos and has been moving from one Lagos household to another, from one part of Lagos to another, each time appearing very nice, innocent, and helpless, with a heart-touching story. And no household knows her actual story. She presents a story that is believable each time and answers a different name in any new household and new location. Sade's house is the 11th household she is moving into in Lagos. Some households hire her for pay. Some hire her for pay and an agreed agenda to send her to some skills acquisition training school. But each time, Naza had what she considered a superior plan for her life. Naza always gets hooked up to some bad gang in whatever area she appears. This time around, in Mr. and Mrs. Imo's area, one area gang leader called Idris the Viper approached her within 2 weeks of her stay in that location. He promised her protection and love if she would give him access to the home she had been employed to serve and protect. Idris gives her money from time to time. Sometimes, while Mr. Imo and his wife Sade went off to work, Idris goes into their home and gets fed by Naza. They get into the master bedroom to do stuff and finish up there. Nothing was sacred to Naza. Nothing. Sade's gold and diamond trinkets were intact always, so she never suspected anything. She thought that Naza was particularly neat, and that's why her bedsheets were often changed. She didn't know Naza and Idris do stuff on her bed and dirty the sheets. Naza and Idris had bigger plans for bigger things, not trinkets. Imo and Sade had been married for 14 years. Conception was very difficult for Sade. Eventually, by the 11th year, she miraculously conceived and had Cassie by their 12th year. Early Monday morning, Sade left for work. Imo, her husband, was traveling that day, so he was leaving for the airport. But he first told the driver to drop Cassie at school, and there he cuddled him, explaining that he would be away for about 4 months. Cassie smiled, understanding little of what Imo said. Imo never knew he would not see his baby boy physically for a long time after this fateful Monday morning. Sade's driver picks Cassie from school and drops him at home, where Naza takes care of him. Naza gives him lunch. He plays a little, gets some beating from Naza, and cries himself to sleep. By the time Sade comes home, Cassie is too frightened to talk to his mom. Naza has also threatened him sufficiently. Cassie is developing higher sensitivities as days pass by. He was learning how to behave in order not to incur the anger and wrath of Naza. Also, Naza has introduced Idris to Cassie as uncle. Some evenings, Idris would take him to a nearby mall to buy him chocolate or ice cream. Cassie was but a child and would not report anything because Naza had told him never. One day, Cassie said, "Mommy, Uncle gave me ice cream." Sade thought it was childish talks. She called Naza to ask. Naza denied and cooked up a story about some ice cream. Sade was too tired to press for more answers or push Cassie to say more. Cassie just stopped talking about it. His mom, Sade, treated it as a one-off thing that never happened. Mr. Imo had been away for 3 months. He calls regularly on phone. On video phone, he talks some with Cassie. He would be back by December. Idris knew he needed to act fast, but who would help him and Naza execute the big plan? The conspiracy had to be strong. Otherwise, how would they do a neat work without being caught? Time was running out. Idris told Naza, "Babe, when your madam has an extended meeting in the office and the driver is not around, we would act." Naza said, "What about the gate man?" Idris answered, "Which gate man? The man I dey buy suya and lager for every time? He is not a problem. The problem is how he would explain it to madam without paying with his own life. He is a nice old man, poor and has a family. I don't want him to suffer for what he doesn't know." Naza said, "There's definitely no way he would not be held responsible and accountable since we would pass through the gate." Idris said, "Okay, what if you walk out the gate at the very time driver is bringing the boy back? You collect the child and say that you are going to pick something from the mall. I'll be waiting at the mall. I shall buy the usual ice cream for him. Since your main bag is out in my house already, yours is to just get the boy. Would pick a few clothes at the mall for him. Our guy is waiting, remember." Naza said, "But you know you have not told me how much I am getting out of this." Idris said, "Well, you know, I am there for you. First payment for you is 250,000 naira. The rest will come later, but it will not be less than 1 million naira. If it be more safe." Naza said, "Okay." Naza again said, "Yes, Friday afternoon. My madam has a long meeting after work. She would not be home until around 9 p.m. By then, we would have finished everything." Everything seemed normal for the Imos, and the home was running normal until Friday. Friday morning, the driver dropped Cassie at school. By afternoon, he went and picked him. As planned, Naza was on her way to the mall when she saw the driver and hailed him. He stopped and she collected Cassie. They went off to the close-by mall. Idris was waiting already. They were in the shop picking a few things up. Naza was carrying Cassie. Idris gave him the ice cream and carried him. Idris dropped something in the ice cream to make Cassie slip off. The journey began. For about 3 hours they were driving until they got to a massive house. It was night already. Sade came home and saw that the outside lights were not on. She walked into an empty home. Cassie was nowhere. Naza's room was empty. She let out a scream. Both the gate man and driver rushed in. Gate man explained, "Madam, I've been calling Naza's phone, but she didn't answer. The first 2 times, he rang through, but she did not answer. After that, the number was said to be switched off because I didn't even see Cassie after school." Driver said, "Ma, I picked Cassie from school. I was driving up on our street when I saw Naza and she said she was going to the mall. She collected Cassie and I turned back to come back to the office." Sade began to cry and make calls. 2 of her friends came and took her to the police station to report the case. Earnest search for Cassie began. She presented both Naza's photos and Cassie's. By the 5th day, news on the missing 3-year-old was carried by major news outlets in the country. Meanwhile, the merchant child trafficker was very angry when he saw Cassie. He barked, "Why did you bring this child that still wears diapers here? Are you people mad? How do you expect me to cope with this child? Who has time to be changing diapers here?" Idris said, "Oga, it was just that this one was an easy target and I got this nanny to cooperate fast." His nanny understood the deal really well because she had done 3 orders with other people here in Lagos. She's in the car. The Oga merchant said, "Well, you know what? His nanny has to go with him. As in, I will sell both of them." Idris said, "Okay, no problem. But how much would you pay for the nanny?" The merchant said, 2.5 million naira. Idris said, "But how would you pay just 2.5 million naira for an adult, healthy lady that was my side chick? Oga, make it up to 3 million. They sealed the deal and Idris collected the money. He got to the car and told Naza to follow him into the house. She entered and saw Cassie, who immediately ran to her crying. Idris said, "Okay, Naza, feel at home, I'm going." Naza was confused and tried to scream, but 2 angry-looking muscular men appeared and told her to shut up. Idris left. The mall CCTV captured Idris carrying Cassie and Naza. The entire picture was becoming clearer. Naza's photo was linked to 3 other missing older kids in Lagos. Some of the women whom she had served and robbed before she disappeared from their homes came to the police station to testify. Naza has gone from home to home starting every January, giving service and waiting till December before she strikes an unforgettable blow. Either selling a child in the home or making away with gold and diamonds or something that would give her good money when sold. But this Cassie's case seems to be choking this time. She had always gotten away, but this time she has entered the very pit she dug. Idris came back loaded with cash both on the sale of Naza and on the sale of Cassie. With the photos provided by the shopping mall manager, the police put a 3 million naira tag on him. Whoever gave useful information for bringing him into police net gets the money. Police also found that he had been linked with many crimes in that area, directly and indirectly. Idris knew that police was looking for him. He decided to grow long beards and wear face caps. This was a good disguise, at least for months. Sade was distraught. Imo came back to a devastated wife and the absence of his son, Cassie. But he kept assuring Sade, "Babe, don't worry. Cassie is coming back. I don't know how, but Cassie will definitely come back to us. We hired a criminal for a nanny. We treated her well, and what she has to thank us with is abducting our only son, Cassie. Our Father God has his watchful eyes over Cassie. He will come back to us. Don't worry, my love, don't worry. Wipe those tears. We just must trust God to do what he promised us, okay?" It's 6 months now and nothing has been heard. Police is doing everything they could. Unknown to everyone, 3 policemen in plain clothes hang around the mall daily. A different set goes there every 3 days. Idris was in the shop one afternoon when an old friend greeted him and called his name loud. "Idris the Viper! Idris the Viper!" One plainclothes police overheard that name and it rang a bell. But this guy doesn't look like the pictures. They reported back their observation for the day. Within 7 days, he appeared at the shop again, and 3 policemen walked up to him and took him for questioning. Initially, he said he was Andrew and not Idris. They got to the police station, and everything in the photos matched the man they caught except the beards. After 3 days of horrendous torture, he admitted that he was Idris and that he abducted Naza and Cassie. After more torture, he was ready to reveal the child trafficking merchant's name and address. Police stormed there. The merchant was caught. He had harvested and sold one of Naza's kidneys. The chief merchant later confessed to the police that they were willing to just keep Naza alive until Cassie became 7 years old before they sold him. After that, Naza would be completely butchered and her organs would be sold out to waiting buyers. Lagos women went on a rampage over this gory story, happening right in Lagos. For 3 days, they carried placards to police headquarters and government house. No one could stop them. Their demand was simple: provide every area with proper security. The 3 kids that Naza abducted were sold to different people from different nations. And what about Cassie? Cassie was frail, looking very sick. The foods they gave him were meant to just keep him alive till he is 7 years old. Nothing more. He was the first that police reached out for and carried. Sade saw him and fainted at the police station. Naza was a ghost of herself too, having lost 1 kidney and waiting for the rest of her organs to be harvested at any time soon. She had gone blind on 1 eye and was seeing partially with the other. Cassie was in a specialist pediatric hospital for a whole month before he recovered enough to go home. Sade and Imo could hardly sleep for days because of excess happiness at receiving their Cassie back. It was 5 years of being in police custody awaiting trial before Naza, Idris, and the child trafficking merchants were tried and sentenced to life imprisonment. Naza died in prison after just 3 years of the sentence. Househelps? We just must be careful. They come looking helpless and even looking innocent. One basic rule is to make sure you know someone who knows them very well. If possible, go to see their parents or invite their parents to your house. I know this story is not the first. Have you experienced the evils of the househelps that come to your house? They come in January or February, and as soon as Christmas is smelling in the air, they tell you that they want to go, they want to leave, and they must go no matter what you say. They just abandon you and steal some things from your house and go home. Of course, they ain't coming back after Christmas. Please share your experiences with us at the comment section below. It's always a joy to read what you have to say. Remember to click the like button and subscribe, and click the bell icon if you haven't already done so. This is African Folktales ChinChin. Till our next very interesting story video, remain truly amazing. Goodbye.